Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, not seeing Karthik tonight. It's me stepping in yet again, but at least you'll be able to get a full sentence together without any lag. We've got lots to talk about tonight. I said on the agenda today that we're going to be talking about the Glazers, whether they need to make a move a bit quicker than what they're doing. We've seen a lot of managers being sacked already this season. I think that they need to probably make some moves a little bit quicker than what they are. We're going to talk about possible replacements. I'm going to also delve into a little bit more on the City game, unfortunately, from yesterday. But yeah, I've got some great guests on with me tonight. Jimmy's running a little bit late, but he'll be here shortly. And we'll see you on the other side.
Click subscribe to get daily Manchester United content from passionate Reds, only on All for United.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming on. Now, before we go into anything, first of all, I just want to say, and you might have seen the tweet already, but we've hit 4,500 subscribers, which is a huge milestone. Big moves. And it's thanks to everybody, obviously, that gets involved, all the familiar faces and less familiar faces, but more importantly, everybody that comes in, week out to watch us. And I can say from the bottom of my heart, and on behalf of everyone else, thanks very much. Really big milestone, very pleased, very happy, and we've got more to come. Anyway, as normal. As normally what happens in this show, obviously we ask who's drinking what, and I can see that Stu's got his lovely wine glass again. What are you drinking, bro? Oh, he's on mute. Good start.
We're on a Sicilian organic wine last week, and we bought another bottle because it's really pretty good. So Sicilian white, thank you, and it's quite dry, so it's all right.
Excellent stuff. I'm drinking an aloe vera drink tonight. I felt a little bit dehydrated this morning.
Nice.
Don't know if you've seen one of these, but they are absolutely beautiful. And I feel a lot more hydrated. Connor, are you drinking tonight? I know you've had a busy day driving, watching several games, watching the Formula One. You having a drink?
I'm afraid I'm on Lucasade Sport because I should be on drink after the 2 games I've watched this weekend from United, but I'm not, unfortunately.
Yeah, it might get a bit dangerous. Usuals in the comments. Get your comments, everybody, first of all. Be good to get some conversations, and obviously we want to read those out and go through them as we go on. Jarvis, good to see you again, my man. Evening, gentlemen, he says. Andrew Wall, good to see you back, buddy, as well. Evening, everyone. No Romanian moonshine, he says, and that's...
that was last week, that was. I think. Yeah.
Cal, good to have you back on, mate. You having a drink? You having water?
I'm on water, mate, because I've had a bit of a weekend off the beer, actually. Other than the 4 pints I had watching the United game, but other than that, I've had a bit of an alcohol-free weekend, which is why I'm even more miserable than usual.
That's exciting. That's exactly what we want to hear.
But, but I would also like to say thank you for 4,500 subscribers. I feel like we're all a big part of that. Those on this video and all the other videos, and all the contributions we've had. So thank you very much for all that, and everyone in the comments. So hopefully we get to 5 very quickly, and then hopefully we get to 10 very quickly, and then keeps growing and growing, because it's not a bad show. It's not a bad channel. I quite like it. It's all right.
I'm pleased you do, mate, and it's good to have you keep coming back, mate, because you're very good. You've got some great input yourself, so thank you. Karthik's trying to be the comedian again. Stu and Callum signed up for me and got marked. Sorry, lads. Well, what happened was they continued, because knowing that I was going to be hosting, and then I got 2 more of Connor and Ahmed. So that just says it all, really. Ahmed!
Yeah, well, Karthik's right, isn't he, Carl?
He is a bit, to be fair, although Mark is better to look at.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'll give you that 10 later, mate.
Pleasant.
I'll give you that 10 later, mate. Owen, how you doing,
yes,
mate?
Mark. What do you want from me, pal? I'm very tired.
Just
I'm
want to know
very
how you
sad.
are at the minute.
But football-wise, I'm sad. I do look here. Honestly, I've had a long weekend, boys. And today's literally my day off. But for the record, I am on Vimto in a bottle. There it is. And yeah, football sucks in more ways than one. So I tried my very hardest not to talk about it, but I needed somewhere to vent. And this is a safe place. It's nearly the same as Alcoholics Anonymous. So here we are. What has to be done has to be done. I need rehab. I need rehab for suffering this ridiculousness that we're dealing with week in, week out nowadays. So what else can I say? What else can I say?
Do you know what? Whenever I'm on this channel, whenever I'm on this show, it's like I'm in a studio and there's some kind of lighting on my head because I'm fucking well warm. I'm proper hot. And I don't understand why. I'm sat at my computer with a webcam. Like, I don't understand.
That's just what Mark says every time he looks in the mirror.
Yeah. Fucking hell. Jesus, be evil, lads. Come on.
Jesus Christ.
Behave.
Oh, here
It's
we
too
go.
early. It's too late for this, boys. Come on.
Connor's on one tonight, isn't he, already?
Felix with a comment. Thanks, mate.
He'll
Just
get on the
subscribe.
Parejo job
Excellent
soon.
stuff. You won't be disappointed. We've got lots of shows every week. Obviously, this is just usually a roundup of the weekend, and but it's good to have you here, mate. And Jarvis, thanks, bro. Remember to like and subscribe and share on Twitter. Share everywhere, not just Twitter, wherever you want. Right, going to talk about the Man City game. So just bear with me a moment.
Oh dear. Prepare to be depressed, everybody. Oh.
Right, so looking at obviously all the attempts on target, I mean that's pretty
well, this is fancy,
abysmal. 5
Very
shots.
fancy.
You what?
Very fancy, this, Mark.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, I'm
It's the
just gonna
maximum
go through in a
budget.
little bit more detail because the thing is, on a reaction show, it's very difficult to go into the nitty gritty. It's very difficult not to get carried away. But I've had a bit of time to think about this over the last 24 hours, and I'm still not pissed. I'm still not pissed off. I'm still very pissed off, and obviously it's just highlighted with all the information that I've got here. So we'll just go through that in a moment. So, first of all, attacking sides. Now we saw yesterday Man City very much going from one side of the pitch to the other. And causing us a huge amount of problems. Most of their attacks were going down the right or left-hand side. And as you can see, 33% on the right-hand side, 42% on the left. Now, it was a problem on the right-hand side. Aaron Wan-Bissaka was played... well, he wasn't very good yesterday, and he played abysmally, and it was obviously exposed by Cancelo on that left-hand side. But it just goes to show as well on the left-hand side, from our point of view, Luke Shaw is doing what he's doing. And is continuing to sort of play a high line. I'll show you a bit more in that in a minute. But obviously it wasn't working very well for us. So that obviously clears that up a little bit more. But if you look at the player positions here, look how congested it is in that midfield. And this is what I was saying earlier. Luke Shaw is playing a higher press, or at least trying to. Ollie has obviously gone in and he said to him and Aaron to play a higher press, and obviously that's not been listened to or whatever it might be, but Aaron Wan-Bissaka is obviously sitting too far back, which obviously caused us a lot of problems. And as I said, Cancelo, very, very well played yesterday, caused a lot of problems down the left-hand side. Looking into a bit more detail as well with regards to heat maps. Dreadful. Connor, talk to me about these heat maps.
Fucking hell, you're dropping me right in the ear, aren't you? Just throw a heat map at me and go explain this.
Good.
I mean, I don't go into all of this if I'm being totally honest. I mean, it just shows what stats are there to almost back up what we see it through our eyes, and they're not lying. But you can see on that left hand side, Cancelo, was heavily influential, and City just did what City do. They overload the midfield with the fullbacks and play almost like a 5 across midfield, which is why I said about McTominay and Fred. I almost felt a bit sorry for them because they're playing against 5 and there's 2. So what are they supposed to do 2v5? It was like a training exercise for them. And I know we joked about it, but that's all City had to do. And you just bring it up there, your kind of average positions there. I mean, look at that. There's only 3 City players in their own half at Old Trafford. Are you taking the piss? Look at our average positions there. You've got potentially, I think that's 4 there in Greenwood. If you really want to count Greenwood in that midfield, you've got 4 potentially playing almost, where you'd expect your defensive midfielder to be at home at Old Trafford. Just embarrassing, really. Talk about coaching, talk about, Stu's probably best to go into player responsibility and all these kind of things. There's not just one issue.
He'd be right to.
Yeah, there's not just one issue. There is 1,000 things that went wrong on Saturday. It's just a shame that, in games, things go wrong. 1 or 2 things go wrong. You can still churn out a good performance and win the game, whatever. Not just 1 or 2 things went wrong. I can think of 20 things just off the top of my head that went wrong in that game. And it's just being backed up by stats. That's all these things are there for. It's just proving what we all saw with our eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just wanted to go into it in a little bit of detail. As I said, I looked at these a little bit in more detail today. Man City, as you can see down here, obviously all over the pitch, covering all the areas that they're supposed to be covering. And obviously our position and our player positioning is totally all over the place. And you've got 4 players here, the midfielders, that are trying to obviously own a bit of space, trying to dictate play, and they're not able to. And they seem to be completely out of positioning. What do you make of that, Stu?
Well, yeah. Well, look, it's straightforward. If you were to put the cursor on our centre of the centre halves, which I presume is Maguire, say for example, so right opposite De Gea. So next one down. Yeah. So he's the one. That's Lindelof, is it? Okay, I can't really see on my screen for some reason. But anyway, look, Lindelof should be screaming to the 4 or 5 in front of him. Oh, that's better. Okay, so Lindelof should be screaming to the 4 in front of him because obviously Greenwood is way tucked in. Now, we know where Cancelo was playing and also Foden. Now, you can pick holes in Wan-Bissaka's game yesterday, but this clearly proves Greenwood's not doing what he should be doing, or Wan-Bissaka isn't instructing Greenwood, because it goes 2 ways. You got Lindelof should be instructing the 4 central midfield players there exactly where to play, and we should be spread out a lot more. So Rashford should be closer to Shaw, Greenwood should be a lot closer to Wan-Bissaka. And there's 2 things about Wan-Bissaka. So he was overloaded with Cancelo and he was overloaded with Foden. Now Foden's a scrappy little player. And we know that Wan-Bissaka's a tackler, but yet he only got 1 tackle in on Foden in the entire first half that I can remember. 1 tackle. Okay. When you're overloaded and you're not having help from the likes of Greenwood or whoever it is on the right-hand side, you've then got to take the responsibility as a player to snuff it out yourself. And you've got to get tighter and you've got to be tougher. Okay. Now I tweeted that, somebody on our side has got to put a tackle in, a crunching tackle. You have to do this. The game hasn't changed since 1912 to today. You've got to put a crunching tackle in. You've got to disrupt teams. All City did, they realised that we're weak as a unit. I'm not saying mentally weak, but physically weak as a unit. And we won't press them hard. We won't harry them. And we won't put any kind of aggressive tackling on them. And when you look at that heat map or that positioning of our midfield 4 at that particular time and where Ronaldo is, it was obvious that Ollie was trying to play a defensive straight counter-attacking game, but we haven't got the quality. We just haven't got the quality to do that. And if it is Lindelof in the centre there, he should be fucking screaming to get out, to spread ourselves a little bit wider so that we're not tucked in. Because it's dead easy to get at Shaw, it's dead easy to get at Wan-Bissaka. And that was one of the biggest problems. The other issue is that City got some good players, don't get me wrong. And when you're playing elite football, there are times where there's just nothing you can do about good quality football. But we allowed them to play and beat us by playing average football. They weren't any special yesterday, City. We allowed them to be good, and you can't do that in any match, not at Old Trafford or away. You can't do it in any match. Now, people can blame Ollie all they like. I've saw all the Ollie's clueless stuff and all this kind of nonsense yesterday, and yeah, I think although it pains me to say it, maybe we need a change. But when you're on that pitch and you can clearly see by that graphic, our graphic, you can clearly see that the players can see exactly what's happening in front of them. It's not rocket science. Football isn't rocket science. And if Wan-Bissaka isn't shouting at Greenwood, and our coaches aren't shouting at Greenwood. And actually, if Greenwood hasn't got the fucking common sense to snuff out Cancelo, what can you do?
Yeah, he was dropping back inside quite a lot, obviously, by the looks of it. I
Too
mean,
much.
if you
Way
look
too
at
much.
Foden there, number 47, he was so far forward, and he was causing so many problems, wasn't he? And Cancelo was obviously able to. We had no pressing against him, and therefore we were able to play a very, very high line. Really, really difficult to see. But I've my stance hasn't really changed at the moment. I do agree with what you said, Stu. I think that there is a need for a change now. But what frustrates me is that everybody completely disregards what he's done in the last couple of years. It's almost like because he's had a really poor month, they disregard everything he's done up until this point, and that's what upsets me. I think that sometimes it's better to bow out and accept and be happy for what he has done for us and be able to hopefully bow out gracefully, right?
Mark, it goes deeper than that, mate. It goes deeper than that because you've got all these people on Twitter that are calling Ollie clueless, etc. They've got no idea the history of our club. They've got absolutely zero idea before Sir Alex Ferguson. If you looked at the trajectory of our title wins, I think from I think it was 1912. I think was our second title win in the old First Division. There was something like 41 years between then and when Sir Matt won his final fifth title. And then we all know there's something like 26 years or something along those lines from Sir Matt to Sir Alex Ferguson. So you've got to know you've got to know your club history. You've got to look at the club. You've got to look at the trajectory the club has been on. It isn't championship after championship after championship after championship. If you look at our roll of honours, Sir Alex Ferguson won probably 70% of our honours roll in terms of championships, FA Cups, that type of thing. So Matt Busby's second with five championships and a couple of FA Cups, a couple of Charity Shields. We've only had 3 managers in our entire history that have ever won the league title. 3 managers. Just let that sink in, just for 1 second. 3 managers. And this is the issue with Twitter. This is the problem. They don't know our history. You don't have a God-given right to win football matches for a start. You definitely don't have a God-given right to win titles. You've got to fucking earn it. And that's where it comes down to the players. The players have got to earn it. Players have got to go out and earn the right to win a game of football. It doesn't get handed to you on a plate. Sorry, I'm a bit,
That's all right. That's good. Thank you, mate. Just a quick question for you here that Andy's got. My question to you guys, would Ollie win the league with that City team?
It's a moot question.
It's a moot point. It's
a moot point, yeah.
Yeah, it's speculation, and I think people keep doing this. Like people are going on, oh, Norwich have just lost the manager, and Solskjær wouldn't even be on their radar. It's using speculation and moot points, and it's redundant points to make some kind of false narrative about Ollie. Focus on him being United manager. Look, I think. Yeah, I get, like I am probably in that boat now. I think there probably is time for a change, unfortunately. Leopards don't change the spots, as Roy Keane famously said. These players have absolutely hung out Solskjær, I'm afraid.
So do you think that there's going to be a case of someone's going to come in and have to rebuild the whole team again?
Well, no, this is what I wanted to get onto later, really, but I'll get onto it now. Man United need a club identity, which we probably have had in the past in terms of how Ferguson played. Ferguson didn't have one style. He had a philosophy of, I guess, attacking, but it wasn't one single philosophy of how to play football. What Man United need is a structure over the manager to show that we have some kind of identity and way that we want to be run. And if a manager wants to come in, they have to buy into that. This is where I was a bit like, this is why I didn't want Conte, because Conte wouldn't do that. Now, as much as Conte might have been great, he wouldn't have bought into that, and he'd have bought in his own principles to try and get the club going forward in whatever way that is. Man United needs some kind of overhaul structure above the manager that should basically say to whoever comes in, whether that be a follow-on from Ollie, who has done a good job over the past 3 years, that be a follow-on from Solskjær to go, this is how we want this club to be. if you don't buy this, you don't become our manager. It's as simple as that. United, to an extent, probably do have something like that at the moment. Not enough, but the club now is in such a better position than it was 3 years ago in terms of recruitment, the academy, the footballing structure as well. Anything like that it's all improved because of Solskjær, because as a manager, he is good. He might not be elite, but he's good, and he has made this club so much better than what it was 3 years ago. People need to remember how bad it was under Mourinho, how bad it was under Van Gaal, and how bad it was under Moyes. Now, absolute credit to David Moyes. He's doing incredible with West Ham, and fair play to him, a complete testament to the job he's doing there. Well done to him. But people look at it in some kind of weird history book that Moyes wasn't given enough time. Moyes didn't deserve the time. He was awful. Van Gaal, yeah, he won us that FA Cup, but good God, there was pictures of fans falling asleep in the stadium. And Mourinho, well, Mourinho's Mourinho. He's doing it at Roma after 2-3 months. United there seems to be some kind of thing with United. We need an interim to the end of the season, or we'll give it to the end of the season. Now, why? I just don't understand that point. Man United signed the players of Donny van der Beek for 40 million quid and barely used them. They've got cash. They've got cash that is there to be used, but might not be because of the Glazers, but that's another point. But they've got the cash there to go out and get the best manager out there. Now, I'll use Ten Hag as an example, right? Ten Hag is at Ajax. Now, as incredible as Ajax are, Man United are on par in terms of footballing history and prestige and all that kind of crap. They're on par with Real Madrid and Barcelona. If those three clubs come calling, go to them. Simple as that. Now, United don't have to look for a manager who, up until a week ago, like Conte, who was a free agent. Why is it always an unattached manager that United have to go for, or is talked about going for? Go for Ten Hag. Go for, I don't know, like a Luis Enrique or a Mancini or whoever. I'm not saying they're my options, but they're just off the top of my head. These people are in contract, but you can buy them out.
Just to stop you there a second, do you think there's a lack of world-class managers at the moment? Because everyone seems to be employing, Barcelona done it with Xavi, Juve did it with Pirlo, Chelsea did it with Lampard. There's a lot of that at the moment. Does that seem to suggest that there aren't enough world-class managers that are available at the moment?
It's evolution. It's evolution, Mark. Sorry, Cal. I'll just quickly be brief. It's evolution. It's managerial turnover. It's age. It's just managerial turnover. That's all it is. There's never actually truly been a world-class manager. And Sir Alex Ferguson doesn't fit into a world-class manager, nor does Van Gaal, Ten Hag, etc., etc. What you've got is quality man managers who know how to get the best out of a group of men. There's a huge difference between what you could be perceived to be world-class and what actual management is. Sorry, Cal.
Yeah, I slightly disagree with the terminology. I think there probably is a few world-class managers, Guardiola, Klopp, Tuchel. The thing is, you could bring that in line with the players. There's very few world-class players as well. It's a bit of a term that kind of gets bandied about when someone's in form, and it's not really the case. But the problem is, there's not that many, but they wouldn't be world class. I think it's more a case of those world class managers are all in the Premier League and are all in a job. The other up and coming possible future world class managers, the likes of your Ten Hags or dare I say your Pochettinos, they're in clubs like, look, PSG are a decent sized club, but let's have it right. They're not a big club. They're not a Man United. They're not a Liverpool. They're not a Chelsea. They're not a Barcelona or an AC Milan. Or, do you know what I mean? If these clubs were to come calling for Pochettino, I think he'd leave and go to any of them. Do you know what I mean? And Pochettino's definitely not my choice, but people need to realise these managers could have the potential to become that next big thing. And I think with the likes of Ten Hag specifically, being at Man United could lead to him being that world-class manager, that elite manager. I think you are right. There's very few, but the thing is, it's become such a narrative that United have to go for a free agent manager because it means Man United spending money on buying someone's contracts out, which, as we know, we have a load of owners that don't like spending it. Now, the thing is, we need to kind of go back to the summer. Yes, we got Ronaldo. Ronaldo was a signing that would make a profit. You know, they knew they'd sell him. They knew they'd bring him in. And regardless of future transfer fees, the marketing ability of that player would bring them so much money. We seem to forget that. Even before Ronaldo was even talked about, every single one on this YouTube channel, every single fan, all said we need a midfielder. I've said it so many times, but the over-reliance of Fred and McTominay, in all seriousness, now there are, you know, Maguire, Shaw, Pogba, other players to an extent haven't been on form at all, but his over-reliance of Fred and McTominay in that midfield has ultimately, I think, whether it be now, the end of the season, has cost Solskjær his job. And it has. The signing of Ronaldo was a little bit of an it was a bit of a hiding place. We weren't signing a midfielder regardless of whether Ronaldo came in. Ronaldo came in because it'd make us a profit. Not because he'd scored us goals, which he has done, but Ronaldo was signed to make money for United, I think, personally. It was definitely more of a business decision than a footballing decision. Now, look, I know I'm going on for a while, but there's so many points that we need to make about so much that's gone wrong. Maguire and Shaw, fuck me, I've had enough of them this season. They need to have the rest of the season off and come back next year and go, wow, what the hell did we do last year? Another point I want to make was about the goals that City scored. The first one, that own goal, that Bailly scored, I don't particularly blame him, to be honest. Bailly had to go for that. He had to go for that, I think. He had to go to clear it. Lindelof should be shouting in there, going, look, no, I've got this. I can clear this. And that second goal is what you'd see at a Sunday League game at 10:30 in the morning when everyone's hungover. What centre-back and left-back lets the cross come in and go past you in the 6-yard box? It was amateur. Again, from the same two players who have done it countless times this season alone. We go back to the start of last season when they were doing it. There is an inherent problem with when those two go out of form, they completely combust. And it is costing the entire team. Whether their mentality is we can't play at Old Trafford, we haven't got the mental ability to do that, and fine, there's nothing wrong with that. But ultimately, you need to look and go, right, well, I can't play for this fucking football club. It's simple as that. Roy Keane got it spot on. And at this point, and you know, Mourinho was gone. Every single United fan will back Ole Gunnar Solskjær before he backs these players. And if he has to be sacked because of their performances, I dread to think what it'd be like in the ground.
You were talking about McTominay and Fred being a huge, not hindrance, but a damning effect on the way that things have gone. And I do agree with that. I think obviously Ronaldo was a signing that was going to bring shirt sales, and we did need that midfielder. But on numerous occasions in the past couple of seasons, those two players have done very well at points and won us games. Against Man City last season 2-0. So why has that changed so much? Jimmy, do you want to come in on that one?
You're on mute, you donut.
Yeah, I just figure out what's going on there. It's a difficult one. They at times have held together a very dysfunctional team, but I think now that the team's getting more and more dysfunctional, they're getting found out for the players that they are. I don't think collectively they've actually had a bad game this season. It's just they're so average that now the rest of the team's playing poorly as well. We're sort of they're getting found out. I think Ollie's probably right to keep going back to him because there's not a better there's not a better midfield pairing than them in terms of keeping things steady and so on. I get we want Matic and Van der Beek, we want Pogba and someone, but it's just going to leave the defence that's probably the worst performing defence we've seen at Old Trafford in our lifetimes. Well, probably not Stu. You go on about how bad we were in the 70s and so on. But
we were terrible. Well,
yeah, exactly.
But we had some good defenders in the 70s, actually. That's the funny bit. We had two brilliant centre-halves in McQueen and Martin Buchan. They were really, really good together, but the rest was bang average. So,
have you ever thought, Stu,
at least we tried
names? Because we definitely believe you.
Have you not heard of Greenoff and Buchan?
No. But I know they're real, but I think it'd be a fun
sorry,
game for you to just make players up and just we'd go along with it. We're not
Gordon
going to challenge it.
McQueen. So I was on about the Greenough brothers, actually. Gordon McQueen and Martin Brooken. Gordon McQueen had shaggy blonde hair. It was brilliant. Sorry, anyway, I digress.
Yeah, back to McTominay and Fred. Like Carl said, we're never going to sign a defensive midfielder that's going to do both of their jobs. We know their limitations. I don't know why we constantly get so annoyed at them. They're probably playing as well as they can, realistically. We can't use them as a scapegoat because we've seen how well they can play when a team is sort of tailored to tailored to fit them in. As we saw last season, Fred, the season before last was incredible as well. But yeah, I think he's over reliant on them because he has to be, as frustrating as that is. I think we'd probably do worse with another midfield pairing, and fans probably don't want to accept that because it's not very popular to like McTominay and Fred. You probably shouldn't like McTominay and Fred, but you got to put up with them, I'm afraid. So they're not going anywhere.
We've seen on numerous occasions when we do have another midfield pairing, it hasn't worked out. Yeah, it hasn't been as much cohesion as we'd want it to, and I think you're right. I think he's had to revert back to those two because it has won us games. It does make us a little bit more, a bit more solidity at the back. But it's such a shame, really. Andrew makes a good point here. We all wanted Ollie to be backed in the summer transfer window and to take, and to a certain extent he was. However, we should have got that defensive midfielder. Was he not backed, Ahmed? Was he not backed? What do you think he was?
Not properly.
Well, I said on the day we apparently signed Ronaldo. That's exactly what I was about to say. No, not properly. One of the things I was crying out for at the end of last season was someone to fill the hole of the donut. We have all the lovely filling. We get the Sancho, we get the Varane. We just need someone to fill the hole. I was stunned that we didn't go for I guess his injury. Oh, I know.
Out of context is coming for you.
Boys. The more you know. Basically, I thought we'd get Dennis Zakaria. I think we could have gone for Rice had he had seen the intention of moving on. But I think that's the next summer thing now. We'll be saying we should have got him a year ago and all that kind of stuff.
I don't even think it'll be next summer. West Ham are making the Champions League, aren't they?
It looks like it at our expense. But yeah, at this rate, I just see us not getting a centre midfielder being a strong reason why. I think during the summer when Ollie was saying we may change to 4-3-3, we were really relying on that one key component, being the number 6, the defensive midfielder, whatever you want to call it, just sitting there doing the clean-up job and then spraying balls left, right, centre to the attackers or the 3-8s that would be playing in front of him. That vision, I think, slowly died as the season started because we started so relatively well, winning off 2 of the first 3. But I just don't think I've seen like any reason to back up why Ollie hasn't been backed in the summer. I can see why he's in hot water now because a lot of fans are clearly displeased by the fact he cannot get the best out of a team, which he's been given to build. He's been given from the start to achieve something from this season. It's silverware or nothing, clearly, for Ollie this year. Otherwise, he is done. But yeah, to answer the original question, someone in midfield this season would have made a big difference because sure, Fred and McTominay do a job week in, week out, sitting in the hole, playing their hearts and souls to keep us from getting defeated. And honestly, I struggle to find a reason to feel overly confident in both of them. One of them will play good and the other one will play bad. And when they both play good, we win. If they're both playing like shit, we all suffer because we're watching them like haywire across the pitch while our centre backs get put under pressure. So we're sort of in a win-lose situation here. We have 2 defensive midfielders, so in a way, it's kind of bad because we are compensating in our forward thinking, in our forward in terms of going forward as a team, but also in the same way, if, as I said, one plays good, like Fred, if he has a great game, we're all seeing his praises and not much goes to McTominay, who if he plays badly, suddenly everyone's after him, or vice versa. I'm sure they were briefing Ollie all summer long. He was telling the Glazers, we need that focal point in the midfield. We need someone to cover for the fact that the man of match is not a young chicken anymore. He can't play 90 minutes. We need someone to have that energy, so help rotate the team. Just having the one player in the six means we have a variety of options. But even still, in our club right now, sitting on the bench is a ready and willing player who I feel sympathy for him, and he deserved the praise he got from the fans yesterday, Donny van der Beek. I think he has to get a chance now. I don't understand, what is it going to take for him to get in the team? What is it going to take? I don't understand why he's not been given a fair chance in this team for a number of games. 5 minutes in, I guess, Atalanta. Sure, he made an impact. He got something going, and it helped us get the equaliser. And then yesterday for 10 minutes, for what I saw of it, it wasn't too bad, but the game was already dead. So he's not really going to get much of a chance to impress.
Ahmed, can I just jump in on that
point? He needs to
mate?
get a solid run of games. Yeah, mate.
Sorry, can I just jump in on that point, mate? The Van der Beek thing. I just don't understand when this guy became such a messiah for this football club. I get he's not had that much of a chance, but surely there's something on the training ground that we're not seeing. I thought it was really, really weird behaviour from the home crowd to chant and cheer the way they did when Van der Beek came on. I thought it was really strange. Whether it was just a tongue-in-cheek, sarcastic thing to do, I don't know. I thought it was really frigging weird from the United fans.
I was talking to someone about this today, actually, and I think it's exactly that. I think that nobody in the ground is going to necessarily call for Ollie. And they used the same chant, didn't they, to sing Donny van der Beek. And I think that was kind of like an inadvertent way of doing that whilst cheering for Donny. Pleased to see him coming on.
I think it's really weird, but the thing is, every now and then, and I get it's not a lot, but every now and then Van der Beek comes on for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, and he literally does nothing. He might make a couple of off-the-ball runs and it might drive, but as a midfield player who you spend that amount of money on, you expect to do that. I just find it a little bit like weird how obsessed some fans are about him. The only thing I'd say is the over-reliance on Freddie McTominay would make you think, right, maybe Van der Beek does deserve more of a chance. But there must be something more to it that United fans aren't seeing, that we constantly keep seeing commented on Twitter. That means, look, I like Van der Beek. He's a very good player. But it just seems like, look, I personally think he was a number 10. And look, he's not going to take Bruno out of the team because Bruno does so well. And ultimately, he's our second number 10 midfielder. So when Bruno needs resting, he'll play. When Bruno's not playing well, he'll come on. When the game might need changing, he might come on or whatever. But it just seems very strange from the fans who constantly seem to go on about him when he does get a chance, he just doesn't do anything. He really doesn't do anything. And to suggest he does, I'm sorry, but it's just wrong. He doesn't do anything. He makes a couple of touches on the ball, might take a couple of runs. For goodness sake, man, he's a midfielder for Man United. You'd expect that kind of stuff.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
For
do
me,
agree with you. I don't know what this obsession is, actually. And I was very excited about seeing him come in last summer. And I think it was one of those sort of romantic signings. Everyone was like, oh, what about Donny van der Beek? He's available. Real Madrid can't afford him. You know, he's available for 40 million. And all of a sudden, United went in, got him quickly. And I think that that's just where it's all started from, if that makes sense. I can't really put any, I can't really think of any other reason why. And I was very much ready for him, at least, to do well, to come in. And he hasn't. You're absolutely right. He hasn't taken the opportunities like he maybe should have. Just quickly, Connor, I'm going to bring you in, mate. Bainesy has said this, which you agree with him. Yes, we didn't get the central midfielder, but guys, surely we have enough talent here to cover for our weaknesses. Not every team has world-class players. I do agree with that. However, I was reading something else a couple of days ago, and I think we've spoken about this before. It's been said many times. My worry is we've got a lot of players with obviously incredible talent or perhaps world-class ability, but can't play together.
No, I don't. It's just not that, though. Sorry, Connor, you go. I've spoken up.
But no, I was just going to say I agree with that comment because, I mean, obviously not today, but Liverpool are a prime example. Henderson and Milner are in that midfield. They're bang average. I'm sorry, they're not world-class players.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So you're looking at that Liverpool. I'm just going to use Liverpool as an example because that's the first team that springs to mind. You don't need world-class players in every single position to win games. And this is what I said this out on the reaction show yesterday. We're a good group. We're a very good group of talented players. We're not a good team. This is our problem. You need to be able to not necessarily get on with each other because you don't. You just need to be able to work together. And we cannot find a system or the personnel that works together yet. We haven't seen that all season. I can't actually think of a game, even the ones we've won where we've played as a team. That's what the problem is. We need to start. The back line needs to start communicating as a back 4 or 5 if you include the keeper. The midfield needs to start talking more with the back 2, especially the double pivot and the back 2, and then Fernandes in the front line, whoever that is. We're just not a team. So the reason why I agree with that comment is because yes, we do need a 6 in some aspects, but I think a 6 would take us to the title, but not having a 6 doesn't mean we drop down as far as we have. Because it's not like you can lose to City, it happens, but 0 shots on target in 60-odd minutes. We only had 1 shot on target in the whole game, 5-0 at home to Liverpool. The Atalanta performance, that doesn't happen because you don't have a 6. That's on the players as well as the coaching staff as well. There's a lot of, this is what I said at the start, there's a lot of problems. It's not just on one thing. Not having a 6 is a problem. Certain players, not performing is a problem. Certain areas on the coach bit is a problem. The board are a problem. We could go through everything. It's not just, and this is why I get really annoyed when people just say, yeah, it's Ollie. It's not just Ollie. There's a number of problems that go wrong. You don't just lose a game because of Ollie. There's a number of things that go wrong in 90 minutes of football. And this is what I agree with Bainesy, what he was saying. Yes, a 6 would help. Maybe we might have won a couple of games, but I don't think a 6. Guys. I don't think signing a 6 in the summer wins us those games that we've lost in the last few weeks.
I don't think it's a case of losing the games. It's how we've lost the games as well, I think. Like the sheer lack of commitment from those players. It's the sheer lack of commitment and desire. Like, I hate the words. They seem such cliche words, but they're so apt to the last 2 games. That game against City yesterday, they gave up. They absolutely gave up. They let City just have the ball. They let them toy with us. We had more shots on target against fucking David De Gea than we had against their goalkeeper. Like, imagine speaking about that stat out loud and going, "Oh, it's not good enough." And Connor's right. It's not just Ollie. These players have got to be held accountable for being completely moronic on the football field. What 2 defenders let the ball just stroll past them in the 6-yard box? That's not coaching. That's just complete total fucking stupidity. Absolutely ridiculous.
So I'm quite sure. Yeah,
go on.
Is it okay if I do this real quick?
Yeah, go.
I'm quite sure in Sunday League teams do this, right, where if a player makes a mistake like that, the one similar to the goal similar to the goal we conceded yesterday for Bernardo Silva, I'm quite sure you hook that player and leave him on the bench for eternity until he figures out how to improve his own defensive game. Because there are times yesterday where I was at the point where I didn't want to watch the match anymore, but after half an hour, because it felt so lethargic, so poor. So there's too many things that I could talk about the game yesterday without trying to lose my head. But realistically, right now, I feel this side just don't commit enough. And look, this can say all they want about this team, but the simple part of it is that you cannot go out in a Manchester derby or against Liverpool and show us a side of your game that we never ever want to see, where you look helpless, where you cannot give us 100%, where you don't look like you're actually enforcing yourselves on the opposition. You're letting them play football at Old Trafford. You should never let the opposition play football at Old Trafford. It's the simple principle. I think I've lived in a time where I've seen opposition scared to even at the sight of a red shirt, let alone the players on the pitch. The realistic thing is, we cannot continue performing like this season. We're at risk, obviously, for dropping out of the top 4, let alone of the title race. And on top of that, even I just want to weigh in on the manager scenario really quickly because I haven't spoken about it yet, but very quickly. Realistically, I cannot see anyone coming in right now who can sort this problem out. I would say we're going to be stuck with Ollie, and I'm one of those who supported him wholeheartedly. But if him and the players who have collective blame for the form we're in right now cannot find ways to stem the bleeding that we're experiencing right now, I do genuinely believe we're going to suffer a lot more than we are already this season. And a lot of us want May to come a lot faster than it is, and how far away it is already. It feels like we are bleeding and possibly on the brink of not dying, but a life-changing thing happening to our club. And I don't want that to happen before it's too. I want it to be sorted out.
Ahmed, it's nothing new, mate. It's not life-changing. It's been done before, pal. We're in the second division.
I'm okay.
Well, that's the point. Yeah, but that's the point.
Oh yes, Stu, you speak well.
Point. Yeah, what you've just said there is exactly the point of the fan base. Because for you, it's never been that way. Now that's nobody's fault when people were born. It's just, but people aren't understanding our history. And for us, it's nothing new. As I say, at 74, we came out of the second division, and we were playing woeful football in the 70s and the 80s. What's happening now is that if the players don't, I'll just be polite, pull their fingers out their arses, then we're not going to get anywhere. We're not going to progress as a club. And it is purely and simply down to the players, because those are the ones that are out there on a Saturday afternoon or a Wednesday evening or a Sunday afternoon, and whether they kick off, and it's their responsibility to win that game of football. Now, people can go on about coaching as much as they like, and I see it all the time. Most people who comment on football have never played an elite athletic environment in their lives, don't know what it's like to be an elite footballer, haven't got a fucking clue, haven't got a clue what it's to be like to be an elite manager. All they do, or all we do, we look at certain things. You stat men on fucking Twitter are the world's worst, because all they do, they go onto a fucking coaching website and they plagiarize what goes on. That's all they do. You can fucking read it. It's obvious what they do. And they try and think they're clever. And they're not clever. They just don't get football. And I said to James the other night, James...
Are all of them with the same brush there, Stu? Some of them are okay.
Most of them.
They're all dumb. A lot of them.
Yeah, trust me, most of them don't know what they're fucking talking about. But I was talking to James the other night, and he said he's playing five-a-side. He scored a goal, one apiece. And I said, you conceded one goal. Who told you to stand here? Who told you to stand there? Football's fucking common sense. Now, whether or not you're playing Sunday morning football or fucking elite football, football is common sense. And the only people that you can really hold accountable on a match day are the players, because they're the ones that are responsible for their own game. And I hear all the time about managers improve footballers. Absolute bollocks. You improve yourself. When you fucking, you were taught to read and write as a kid, you improved as you went along. Your mum and dad didn't fucking hold your hands till you're 38. You improved yourself. That's how you improve as a person, as an individual. It's how you get on in life. It's down to you to improve your fucking self. Managers and coaches are there to advise, but only you can put it into practice. You've got to bear in mind.
What about? And I'm just playing devil's advocate, okay, Stu. Which
about loves doing, by the way.
The media, and when we have discussions about certain managers coming in and they've improved this player, so Ollie's come in, he's improved Rashford, he's improved Greenwood, and that sort of thing. Surely it's a little bit more than guidance. Listen, for me, I'm very much in the middle, okay, but for me, I've seen it so often in the last few weeks and in periods throughout the last 3 years that surely he cannot be saying to him, I don't want you to play a high press, I don't want you to charge down and get the ball. Surely he would have addressed that. So why is it that that's not happening still? Why is it that we look so lackluster? And why is it that they're not chasing down as quick as what they should be? They should be pressurising them all the time.
But it's your individual player. I talk about it all the time, segments on a football pitch. If you're playing the left-hand side, you've got 2 or 3, 4 segments you look at and you play. I said before at the very beginning, Wan-Bissaka and Greenwood. Wan-Bissaka and Greenwood should be working as unity. Well, it isn't Greenwood, it should be Bruno if he's over that side, or whoever's playing on the right side. You work in unity, you work in segments. I need you there. I need you there. Because if you're there, you stop Cancelo. If you buy me, we can double up on Foden. It's simple communication in football. Okay, now things happen quickly in a football match, and sometimes you'll get put on your arse by a bit of skill, and there's nothing you can do about that. Okay, but it's down to the footballer himself. That a footballer has to improve himself. Ollie's not on your back carrying you around, or he's not carrying you around, during a football match to tell you where to go. If you don't know, playing for a club like Manchester United, where to stand on a football pitch, where to be, if you can't see the play unfold in front of you, okay, if you cannot communicate with your colleague to say, I need you there, you shouldn't be anywhere near a professional football league. And that is elite performance football. Now we know that their touch is 100% spot on. It's quick. They move it quickly. It comes in, and players have got to adjust and adapt during the game. But whatever you work on during the week, and Al Tong, I wish Al was on tonight because he'd tell you straight. He's been at the level. He's played at United. Whatever you work on in the week, if you can't apply it, and I'm sick of going over it like a broken record because I talk about it the time, but if you can't fucking apply it on a Saturday, it's nobody's fault but your own. And it's then down to you as a player to sort it out. Luke fucking Shaw, all he had to do was jump, concede a corner. He knew where fucking Bernardo Silva was because I saw him look over his shoulder.
That was an individual area.
You knew what he was doing. But why wasn't De Gea Yeah, but why wasn't De Gea coming off his fucking line, pushing Shaw out of the way and grabbing the ball? That's what you do.
That's the alarming thing, though, isn't it, Stu?
Yeah, of course it is, yeah.
That's the alarming thing because what's amazing is De Gea was our best player on Saturday. And honestly, he still wasn't that great. He stopped a few shots. The goalkeeper,
It's
what he's supposed to do.
terrible to talk
I don't
about
want to
that.
come out sounding
our
like Roy Keane.
goalkeeper's our best player.
But the thing is,
how is it our goalkeeper's our best player? How?
Thing is, Ahmed,
Why?
he is.
I'm
the
sorry.
minute. He is still
No,
at
I'm
the
not
minute,
saying
and that's
in
the
a
problem
negative
because
way. Yeah. Not in a negative way, no. I mean, in the sense that he should not be in that kind. It's talked about in that kind of way. He should be playing the role of keeping United from conceding goals, and along with that, defense, who should be an improvement on what we had 3 years ago. They should not be conceding the type of goals we just conceded on Saturday afternoon. It is wholly unacceptable for the likes of Maguire and Shaw, who are of the standard of a typical Man United defender, apparently, to let goals like that in. I understand fatigue and all that from the Euros, but it doesn't detract from the excuse. You have to perform in these big games because there will be a day where one day you'll sit on the bench and wonder, well, I'm here because I actually fucks up against City once, and I'm not going to get off this bench again until I realise that the manager doesn't want me.
Not that one. Sorry about just that one.
Sorry about that.
I just want. Sorry, Ahmed. I just want to make a point on this comment. I went to the pub. To watch United game on Saturday. Now, as a United fan, I'm always a bit gutted that we lost. But I don't know how to put this delicately, but it was weird. It was one of the best days in the pub I've had watching United. And I know that sounds really odd to say. But when the game ended, it's obviously a Man United pub. It's in Manchester, so there was a few City fans in there as well. United got drubbed by City. Like, absolutely just played like a fiddle. Yet the entire pub was up singing United songs after the game. And all the City fans were sat down because United was stood up singing, not them. And it just gave me a weird kind of epiphany moment where, like, at the end of the game, shit in it. But football, I don't feel it. Again, I need to put this right, but football is about trophies and it's about winning. But to me, it's more than that. It's kind of going to the pub with your mates, having a beer, having a sing-song, discussing the manager, discussing the players, and just having a laugh, regardless of whether we won or lost. So the best bit of advice I'd give to you is don't be depressed about it. Brush it off. It's crap we lost.
Yeah.
We're not great at the minute. Just have a laugh. It's a game of football. And And I know it's a weird way to put it, but you know, if you really put it in the grand scheme of things, you ought to watch a game of football with your mates. Just have a good time, regardless of how shit we are. Get angry, shout at the telly, shout in the stadium, scream at the players. But when the final whistle goes, forget about it and move on. Simple as that.
You know what?
Forget
I,
about it.
this-
Have another beer with your mates.
in previous videos, tail end of last year, actually, I said exactly that. And it's no good being too negative about your team. You know, it is a waste of energy. It is a waste of breath. But I think that for me, this has been going on for so long now. It's very difficult to see past that. It's very difficult to see a way out and to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And yeah, it's very, very tough. It's a very, very bad couple of weeks for us, months really, and I just hope that we can come out.
It's been about a couple of weeks, lads, but there is a common theme, unfortunately, and it happened at the back end of last season when Henderson was clearly injured with his hip. But there is this common theme that since Henderson's been out the side, we have looked dodgy as fuck at the back. I'm not talking De Gea's performances. I'm just talking we've looked dodgy as fuck. And I'll tell you why we've looked it. Is because I love De Gea. He's a brilliant goalkeeper, but he's scared. He's a timid goalkeeper at the moment. And there was a couple of occasions against Atalanta when he wouldn't come. Well, their first goal, for example, second goal, sorry, he should have absolutely cleaned their centre forward out. Don't care how big he is. Schmeichel would have on him like an absolute bang. So, but you know, and there was another instance when there was a shot from the outside the box and it looped up off Maguire, I think it was, and their centre forward ran into it, and De Gea stood on the 6-yard line instead of coming for it. Now, people will have a pop at me with regards to De Gea because he was our best player, but he's a very timid goalkeeper, and it's a real problem when you're a centre half. If you're looking over your shoulder and your goalkeeper's not cut at least half of the travelling distance between the centre forward, the football, and the goal. Okay, De Gea doesn't do that, which is why we don't push up so much, because we're frightened that if we get caught on the break, De Gea won't be able to cut the travelling distance. Now, as I say, people can either agree with me or not. It's entirely up to them. But you can't deny that since De Gea's been in, we've looked shoddy at the back. I'm not saying it's all his fault. I'm just saying it's something that needs to be considered.
Yeah, I don't disagree. We've said this many times. Henderson is far more commanding and does seem to bring a lot more solidity to the back pairing for sure. Listen, I'm gonna change the subject now. I'm gonna bring James in. First of all, I just want to say thanks for all the comments tonight. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, and sharing. But keep them coming in. We'll try and read out as many as we can and discuss those. So we've done a bit of a merry-go-round today, haven't we? We're woken up today. We've been linked with Brendan Rodgers, which obviously happened many times over the last few weeks. There's been talks about the fact that
I don't want to hear the words
Ollie's good.
Brendan Rodgers in any context again. Please, nothing with Man United and Brendan Rodgers. If they're putting a sentence together, I want the paper that printed it burned. Never want to hear those, please. It makes me sick to the stomach. Sorry, Mark. Just getting that out there.
He's obviously got strong feelings about that one. But obviously, there's been, I think, who was it that come out today? Who was it? Bear with me a second.
I wouldn't even quote them. They're not even. They're nothing.
Well, Simon Stone first of all said, Man United do not want a short-term, quick-fix manager. They want someone who can build a squad and work with them. This is probably why they didn't go along with Conte and probably why there were reservations, right? In the club's own words, world-class recruits with academy graduates. So Brendan Rodgers obviously has come up today. There's been a lot of... well, to be fair, and I was saying to the boys backstage, this is Caught Offside that reported this. Now, Caught Offside, back in the day, I used to go on every day alongside BBC Sport Gossip just to see, oh, Christ, who are Man United linked with today? And they would put... everybody, and this was the time when Torres was still at Liverpool and he was linked with Man United. He'd had Aguero with United and all sorts. Bollocks. However, a few weeks ago, he was linked with United, and I do believe that there is some truth there, okay? But my point is, and I'm going to ask you this, James, is that there doesn't seem to be any sort of stability or middle ground. Obviously, these things get fed to the media, whether they're right or wrong. Yeah, they get it from somewhere, and the Glazers need to do something quick because they're gonna fall on their faces, right?
Yeah, I don't think that was much of a question, but I'll try and build on that.
No, but go on. I'm just asking you. Like, the Glazers, they need to do something fast, don't they? They need to put people out of their misery. They need to, a lot of things get leaked, and that's not good for the club's stature, is it? That's not good. They've got to save face somehow, and they need to do something soon.
I'll raise you on that. Do you think the Glazers, who are currently sat in a big American mansion watching NFL, care at all about the reputation of Manchester United while they're still raking in millions and millions of pounds every year from it?
No,
they don't. They don't even know who Ole Gunnar Solskjær is. They just know that he's got them that Champions League money for the last 2 years, so he's probably a decent bloke. But I think any manager is going to have this problem. We're very much in a catch-22 area with United because of the owners we have, and I think we're very unique. We're a very unique club in that sense that it's going to be hard to fix because we have two options. Well, there's two options of manager. You either have the managers that aren't as great, who will bow down to the Glazers' demands. They're not going to kick up a fuss, which I unfortunately think Ole has done. I think that he's kept his job this long because he's sort of settled for what they've wanted. He's not really kicked up a fuss when he didn't get the players he wanted, etc., etc. And he got rewarded for that. We saw it this summer. He got two big players that he did want, and then he got burdened with Ronaldo as well. But fair enough. But then if you want to bring in a world-class manager, the majority of world-class managers, if there are even any, have that ego about them where they're not going to sit and listen to what the Glazers feed them. They're going to kick up a fuss if it doesn't go their way. And I think the Glazers are looking for that perfect middle ground, and that perfect middle ground doesn't exist. You're either going to have a poor manager who isn't really good enough to go against the owners because he knows he can be replaced at any moment, or you have a great manager who's going to win you the league, but he's going to want to do it his way. And we're so unbelievably just woeful from top to bottom in terms of a structure. We have the wrong people in the wrong places, and it's a constant circle of just doom and gloom. The Glazers aren't ever going to accept not having someone as effectively a mouthpiece. I get Ole sometimes briefly went against him, but you always felt there was that air that he always needed to stay on their good side. I think he loves this job so much that he would never do anything to risk it. And as a person, you can respect it, but as a fan, it's very irritating. But that's the position we're in. Brendan Rodgers, this is. I'm not being funny. He took over Liverpool when they were mid-table. This is the biggest job he will have ever had. Probably will ever have if he gets it. So he's gonna go along with everything they say. They're going to offer him a nice cushy wage. They're going to give him £100 million a year if he goes along with them, and it'll be great. He'll be laughing. He'll be taking his mildly talented managerial style to these players, and he'll probably be as successful as Ole Gunnar Solskjær, and the Glazers will be delighted because he does what they say. So I don't expect us to get in a manager like maybe Ten Hag would come because he's not developed that ego yet. He's not been at the top level for long enough. But you're never going to see a Conte or a Guardiola level manager come in and to United unless the Glazers aren't here, because they're not going to. Who on earth would want to work under the Glazers? No, you're absolutely right.
No one.
Just following on from what Simon Stone said earlier as well. Despite comprehensive defeats against Manchester United's biggest rivals, there is still no indication from Old Trafford that a change is going to take place in terms of Solskjær's position as a manager at the club, which could indicate that he's not going to go anywhere. But I just personally don't see that happening. I think that something's got to give, and I think that he's it could well happen in the next couple of days. Go on,
Mark. There's a big point that needs to be made. These journalists know fuck all. They know absolutely nothing.
There must be something. I mean, Simon Stone is a huge mouthpiece for United.
Yeah.
So there must be something that's come out for him to suggest.
Do you know what? So am I, and I don't know anything. Like, I'm not being funny. These journalists don't know anything. They'll put something to get a load of fans riled up to try and get everyone talking about United again, because that's what these journalists do. They might hear something from a source somewhere, but it's never fact. and every now and then they might get it right, and it makes them look like a good journalist. They take everything as a pinch of salt. They're all garbage, a lot of them. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, they are all crap. You might know dribs and drabs, they might do briefings, but they don't know anything, I'm afraid. They know very, very little, and they'll do just enough to get people talking, to get people to know their name, because Man United will sell papers, which will mean they'll get recognised. It's just a big circle where everyone gets recognised. And at the end of the day, really, unless you are a player or a manager or an employee of Man United, you don't know anything that's going on within that club.
Yeah, I'd agree. I just want to quickly jump because I know Stu's probably best placed to talk on this, being involved in that environment. But I think we've seen that with Fabrizio Romano, the highest tier journalist in the last few years. He's been regarded as the tier 1 go-to. Regarding Ollie, he's just tweeting anything just to get United fans to interact with the tweets he's putting out. I've just put in the comments, there's been loads of briefings because every Chris, what's his name, Chris something from the Daily Mail, you've had the Telegraph, the Guardian, they're all coming out tonight with all different kinds of stories. And I agree with Callum, it's all to do with the clicks, because they're talking about Van der Beek, they're talking about Bruno, they're talking about Ronaldo, things that they know fans will look at and go, what the fuck's this about? So
look, there are some good ones. There are some good ones. Of course there is. Like Andy Mitten. Andy Mitten is brilliant.
Yeah. You notice how all the good ones don't speculate. That's the
good thing. He doesn't tweet out crap because he knows it's rubbish. Go on, Stu.
It's a very easy operation, I'm afraid, because I'm a journalist, as you all know, and I work in the media and motorsport. It's a very, very simple operation. What journos tend to do is they get a source, whether it's a low-level source or they get a source, and those sources are usually people within the club that try and put an impression that they know what they're talking about, and they drip feed these journalists little tiny snippets, and the snippets are usually about 40% truth. Okay, that's all they are. They're never anything more than 40% truth, because these are low level. James will know it as he starts on his career, and he starts, because you have to get sources, as James will be able to tell you. You have to get sources. You've got to find a way in, and so you have to use these little lower rung sources to help you then build some kind of credibility. I'm just talking some kind of credibility. I'm not talking credibility until you get into the bigger fish, so to speak. And so these little sources are only about 40% truth, and never ever any more than 50%. And journalists have to use them, because as a junior journalist, as James will find out, he'll get tasked by his editor-in-chief to go in and follow up on a story, and he's got to come back with something. And he will use whatever he needs to use with that little bit of credibility to write his article, and that's how it works. Today's modern journalist, okay, it is all about clicks. It is all about sensationalism, so to speak. It is all about the headline. It is all about getting people's eyes to read the article and how many times it's read. And that's how, as you all know, that's how website articles are measured, how many times it's read. And so there will be a very, very tiny bit of truth to a story that has been elongated like an elastic band to make a 400 words. And he's probably only had a very, very small snippet or sentence. And James has probably done it already when he's doing his journalist course. He'll be given maybe one sentence, and he's got to make an article, a 400-word article about that. Or sometimes it's a 2,000-word article, isn't it, James? Depending on what you're writing. It's
so,
really.
So are you saying that his work for another fan channel is a load of rubbish?
No, what I'm saying is.
Go on, Stu, say it.
What I'm saying is that he will have a snippet, and it's like you play. I'm sorry, this analogy is absolutely childish. It's Peter and Jane stuff, but it's like you plant your seed and your flower grows, and that's what it is. It's amazing that all these articles that are written and that are read are by sometimes 3 or 4 words that have been spoken to you, and it's up to you to bloom the. We do it all. You have to do it all the time. Because
Fred like that. Fred like your analogy.
Yeah, sorry, Fred. Yeah, it's poor. It's poor. But no, am I wrong, James?
No, I've done it myself. You're given a story you have to write about. You're given a little bit of information, and that's it. When you're not in charge of what's going on, when you're just told to write a story, that's what you've got to do. That's your job, I suppose.
Yeah. Now, some journalists, if they're freelance, are paid by the article. Some are paid by the word. And if you're getting paid anything between 35 pence, 45 pence a word, you are going to elongate that article to maximise your revenue stream. That's how it operates. That's how it works, guys. So, Cal, you are right to an extent, pal. There's no two ways about it.
I mean, to be fair, Sean, I'm speaking about it from an outsider's point of view, and it just seems to be the case that is what happens. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I say, some journalists are good, some don't speculate, and I'm sure some do have some good sources. But speaking as a broad perspective, most of them don't know a frigging thing, I imagine. And in terms of, like you say, it might be 40% truth, and they'll stretch it out to make it look even more truthfuler. That's not the right word, but you know what I mean.
But with something like this,
Make it will sound more real.
with something like this, right? That's either he's going to go or he doesn't. If 40% truth's there, then surely there's a chance.
No, it's an easy earner. Ollie's right now is an easy earner. Again, James, I know what I mean by that. It's just an easy fucking out, isn't it? What are you going to write about today? Well, I've heard this whisper. Well, I'll write it up then. The editor's not going to know. He's not going to ask for your source sheet. He's not going to ask for a tape conversation. Write it up then. If you've heard it, write it up. And then James will write it, or I'll write it in such a way where you're not speaking complete facts, but you're talking about hearsay. And a skilled journalist can talk about hearsay by making it look like facts. It's just how it is, isn't it, James? It's just how you do it.
I'm going to have to wrap up shortly. We're 1 hour, 12 minutes in.
Okay, now are we?
Yeah, we're going to have to wrap it up. But I've got one more question for Connor, actually, because I know Callum and Stu's viewpoint on tenacity from the players. But I watched a video a couple of days ago from Ralph Ragnick, who's been linked with the United job. And obviously he's done some wonderful work in German football. Klopp, Tuchel, Nagelsmann, all look up to him, all with the high press that they play. And he's suggested that in order to instill that into your team, it can take months. And it could well be that Ollie is trying to instill that, but the players aren't doing it. But it can also be on the onus of the manager. Okay? So if we are to change managers and bring someone in like him that would instill that, high press, chasing down and trying to get the ball back, it could take several months and obviously a little bit of time to do that. So Connor, who would be your replacement if Ollie went? And do you agree with that? Do you think it's all on the manager, which was what Ralph was suggesting? He said that you do instill these things, you do talk to the players, you do tell the players to chase things down, and if the players aren't doing that, then the onus can be on the manager too.
I'll answer that firstly to an extent. So what you were saying there about building a style into the, I think Ollie, this is part of the problem actually. I think Ollie's system when he first came in is completely different to the way he wants to play this year. He's changed his style over a couple of years, and that can get complicated. Now, I know some people might disagree and talk about the players themselves, but the way that we played under Van Gaal was different to the way we played under Mourinho. And when you're getting told certain things, if you go into work every day and you're being told, right, do this, you're being told that for, let's say, 18 months, and then a new guy comes in and goes, actually, no, I don't want you to do that, I want you to do this. Your automatic default when you're out on the pitch in a high-press situation is to go back to what you've been told for the previous 18 months. So it is going to take time, but Ollie has had that time. I'm going to compare it to the women's team just because that's fresh in my memory from today. The one criticism of that, the women's team at the minute, is that the new manager is trying to change it too much. It's so different to the way the previous manager worked that the players aren't understanding it. The difference with the men's, what we're having with Ollie, he's had 3 years. We should have had a style by now. You don't need necessarily a style to win certain games. Players will get you over the line in certain situations.
But something, just to interject very quickly, Connor, he's never played a high press. He's always played a counter-attacking football in the last 2 years, and that worked well for him at some points.
That's my point. He's changed it this year. We've not played the same this year as we've tried to play in previous years.
That might be has either, Mark. To be honest, don't feel like he's had. I don't feel like he has. I don't feel like Solskjær's had one set style of play, and it's a criticism that it's been given so often. But I don't see that as a criticism. Just because City play tiki-taka, passing bollocks football, and Klopp plays a high-press game, just because Man United don't have one solid foundation of a style of play, why is it used as a criticism, that? I don't see why that's a bad thing. It's not, I don't think.
Yeah, and
he's adapted to different situations and different teams and playing different people and managers and players. I don't see that as a bad thing. I don't necessarily think we play counter-attacking. Yes, we have done in some games, like City, for example, when we beat them. By the way, Ole Solskjær's beaten Pep Guardiola 4 times. So this idea that we can't beat City is completely ridiculous, because we can. So, he's played counter-attacking football, yeah, but he's also played possession-based football. He's also used wingers. He's also used route one. Doesn't matter. We don't have to have one single style of play. Sometimes you have the players and the resources to kind of just say to the players, "Look, you've got the ability to change this game. Do it." And this idea that Ollie doesn't have one style of player and it's used as criticism. I'm not saying you said that, Mark, but some people who do say it, I don't get why. It's not a criticism in my eyes, and it never has been, and never should have been used. But it does, and it is all the time.
So, going on the last few weeks, when he has tried to change it up then, and try to play differently, because clearly at the time 4-2-3-1 wasn't working, and now he's gone back to a 3-5-2, which has happened in the past and worked for him. That's not working either, is it?
Well, no, but I mean, not really.
Yeah,
no.
probably.
The problem is it's not worked. But
Yeah. All right, Dave. I'll give you a call in the morning.
Oh,
I've just muted Stu because we get
He's
through his phone call otherwise.
You, Stu. Oh, Stu.
yeah, I mean, look,
That was a close one.
You're not going to play high press with Ronaldo. It's just never going to happen. And when you've got the likes of Rashford and Greenwood on the pitch as well, it's not going to happen. So
Sorry, lads, that was embarrassing.
You need to adapt to that. You're not going to play a high press with
Can
Ronaldo.
I just interject on that? And I tend to agree with both Carl and Connor. What I would say is there are some times where players have got to go rogue as well. I've spoken about this before, where sometimes they've got to understand exactly how the game is evolving and what they can do themselves to halt that passage of play. And players should be doing this on a more regular basis. I understand that a manager will set you up. I said on a couple of shows ago, actually, that formations go out the window. They do during a match. You always end up trying to defend around a 4-4-2 kind of style, but your attacking formation goes completely out the game. It's because you might be attacking with 3 at one point, you might be attacking with 2 at one point, you might be attacking with 6 at one point. So you never ever attack in a specific formation, but you tend to defend in a specific formation. But these players, yes, it's difficult to adapt, and I get all of that, but sometimes they've really got to. This is where you've got to grab a game sometimes by the scruff of the neck. When you're in a boxing ring, you're there one-on-one, your coach is shouting, duck here, jab, tap, whatever, move around him, etc., etc. It's down to you to then, A, put that into practice, and B, if that doesn't work, fight your way out of it. You've got to try and fight your way out of it. And what we saw yesterday, and what we saw against Liverpool, and what we've seen against other teams is we're not prepared to fight our way back into a game or fight our way through a game. We're not prepared to do that. And we talk about the midfielders, and James made a really good point. That's all we can do is play at Fred and McTominay. But after 3 years, and I've said this before plenty of times, why hasn't any one of those nailed down the single six? They're good enough players, or should be good enough players, playing at the highest level. They're internationals, by the way. One plays for Brazil. I know one plays for Scotland. That's that's a moot point. But one plays for Brazil. Why can't they look at themselves and redevelop their game? What is stopping these players from redeveloping their game? And cementing this place. What do you tell me? Because I'm really interested in that. Connor's just started playing tennis again. Now, Connor knows when he's had a bad game. He talks to his coach, but he also knows enough to readapt himself during the game. If he's getting smashed, by a left-hand serve all the way. I know nothing about tennis, by the way, Connor. So this analogy might be wrong. But if he's getting smashed on the same side all the time, all Connor's probably looking to do is shift slightly, a yard to give himself more of an option, or he'll do something to try and put the server off. What I'm saying is during a game of football, you've got to have the sense to actually do something, go rogue, move away from it.
Well, listen,
Mark, can I just say something real quick?
Yeah, go on, bro.
Make it quick though.
Really quick.
Yeah, make it quick. I want to move on to more exciting things.
Abdul made a point in the chat about us having an identity crisis. He's right. Last season, we were known for being second half FC. There you go. We were known for being second half FC. We'd find ourselves behind.
Or shameless FC.
Just obviously without plans, obviously. Shameless FC. We had so many different identities last season. It was a joke. But we would find ourselves behind in games a lot last season. And by hook or by crook, some way, somehow, we come out in the second half and suddenly we turn into, the greatest things since sliced bread and win by like the odd goal or by 3 or 4 after being 1-0 down or drawing 1-1 at half time. Whatever happened to that team from last season is a shadow of the team that we're seeing this season. Because at least that team, which Stu made a point about, fighting for the cause and giving 100%, I saw more of that sort of going for it vibe with this team then than I do now, and it's so strange. Yeah. I don't understand where that has gone. At the very least, that team last season doesn't lose.
Yeah, but just addressing Baines' point.
It's beyond me.
Just addressing Baines' point, actually, he is right. Last season, wasn't it about 60% of the games we came back from losing 1-0?
Yeah,
you're absolutely right, Baines. I'm talking about this season more, pal. And we certainly didn't do it against Liverpool, and we certainly didn't do it against Villa. We certainly didn't do it against City yesterday. So last season, agreed, but
Everton
not so
as
much
well.
this season. Everton, yeah. But that's all I was getting at, Bainesy. More last season.
Abdul makes
it's just strange. It's just strange.
City beat us easily because they compacted the midfield and overwhelmed us there. Greenwood and Ronaldo couldn't disrupt the Rodri, absolute baller, and the fullbacks from creating overloads. Greenwood and Ronaldo was the absolute worst pick Ollie could have gone for. Anyway, I'm going to move away from that now. So, James, you did 5-a-side tonight. Has Stu got to be wary about your footballing skills?
No, we lost 5-0. So it was no idea. He would have been.
Oh.
He would have been. It would have been horrible.
I thought we were
still on the
over this
sidelines.
5-0 chat. Come on.
Well, how did you lose 5-0 at 5-a-side?
Sack the manager, James. Manager's fault.
So we're a bunch of overweight uni students who have been put in Derby men's first division 5-a-side straight away. So we just get spanked every week. So it's not enjoyable.
So
but,
some overweight and then a 12-year-old.
Yes, yeah. I don't know how they let me in. I don't even go to university. I'm still in year 7, but I'm clearly that good. Yeah, Stu, I think you'd have been proud of my performance. I put in a few crunching challenges and whatnot, but yeah, it was from a technical side. I was more Scott McTominay than Paul Pogba. Put it that way.
Do you are you shooting from deep? By the way, are you shooting from deep, or are you guys trying to work the ball up?
No, only when we're out of legs and no one's running. But I try and pick defense splitting passes, but I'm not as good as I used to be. So.
Do you know something? If I was you, if you're playing at the back, I'd shoot from deep. I wouldn't try all the time to zigzag the ball all the way up because it just doesn't work. There's 2 ways to win at 5-a-side. You need a goalkeeper who can be quick with the throw and he can use the boards to your 2 forward players, or you get it from deep and you spank it, because two things will happen. If you get out on target, the keeper 9 out of 10 times will parry it, and then it depends how good you strike.
Unless you're David De Gea, right?
Or B, you'll fucking score, mate, because he won't be expecting it. That's what I would do.
Are you free every Sunday night to come and coach us? Because I think we clearly need some of this tactical genius.
I play on a Sunday night, dude. Although, to be fair, I don't know what I'm crowing about because I was fucking useless tonight. Absolutely. 2 left feet tonight.
Move on to you next year, yeah.
I was woeful. 2 left feet. I've got these. I need some new coppers, James. That's what I need. I need some new Monday Owls. Mine are about 20 years old, and they're just.
I'm
all
glad
over
I
the
played
place.
I had to.
Oh my god.
I found out we can't wear molds or anything on ours, so we have to wear Astro trainers. So I had to go and panic buy some Sondicos at the start of the year.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Really? Are you wearing
Proper-
grip socks as well, by the way?
No.
No,
I
that's-
don't
Oh my
have
God.
money for grip socks. I just wear
Really?
football socks.
Yeah, you need grip socks, dude.
Just to
What
point
the
out,
fuck are
Brian
we
Knight makes a
talking
good
about?
comment. 5-0 is not as bad as Karthik's 9-0 loss.
Exactly.
That's
but
true.
He's not here to
Exactly.
defend himself tonight. And yeah, there's a few comments underneath. Karthik 9-0, all laughing at him. So I'll show him this tomorrow. Yeah, so he manages a team called Poynton FC, isn't it?
Yeah, Poynton under 18s, yeah.
19s.
18, 19, something like that.
And I don't think he's doing particularly well at the minute. So he wants to give it the big one, and he hasn't got Scooby Doo. But yeah, he lost 9-0 a few weeks
Sorry,
ago.
Kartik, but you gotta take that. You gotta take the heat. At least I don't have to worry about being slandered. I play on Tuesdays and I play that crap anyway, so I'm free
Did I
from
tell you what?
slander. But I may tell you about my next.
You should get Callum to play for you, James.
I think it's worth the 4-hour round trip on a Sunday to come and play with us. I think Carla would hate it.
Yeah. Also, I'm fat as shit at the minute, so.
Not worth it.
Everyone on our team is. You won't look out of place, don't worry.
Me and Callum are one and the same.
Get yourself some grip socks, dude, and get yourself some proper footy trainers. You'll be all right, mate. You can't feel the ball, can you?
No, I think that the fact that your love for Connor Cody and your love for grip socks do not go hand in hand. This is a very bizarre crossroads that you've come to.
Do you know, I wear grip socks because
Oh my God.
I've got a real strange size feet. So I'm an 8 in Adidas boots, but like I'm an 8 in one foot, a 7.5 in the other. So I have to wear grip socks so that my feet don't slip. But what you'll find, I know.
Mark, please end the show.
I'll tell him this
Please end the
quickly.
show,
What you'll
Mark.
find,
Yeah,
you-
I'm really surprised that we've come onto grip socks, Stu.
Well, I'm about to tell him
I'd love to
about
know about your
trainers.
fashion, honestly,
I'm-
mate.
I'm about to give him a tip
please.
on football boots here.
But I'm
You
not
need
sure
more supple
tonight's
leather so you
night.
can feel the ball.
Do
pad.
it in the chat, for God's sake.
Just one
Do it
final
in the
question.
chat,
Have all
not
of you
here.
seen Squid Game?
No,
Yeah.
Have you
I'm
not?
about to start it, so
We
friggin'
finished it. The missus and I finished it last night, and it is very good. It's
Which,
very
hang on,
good.
Mark, important question though. Did you watch the English version? Did you watch it with the subtitles or did you watch the English dub version?
English dubbed.
Oh,
And then at
what
one
a
point
waste
we
of
had the
space.
fireworks
Oh,
and the
well,
ghost
subtitles
sparkles.
on.
We had to put the subtitles on, and they did not match up at all.
Yeah.
Why
it's a bit-
why
it's
is
a
there
bit
two
dodgy.
versions? Why is there two versions?
There's more than
People
that.
who are
There's-
too
there's
lazy
what-
to
there's what's
read.
funny.
Wow.
yeah. Read the
Yeah.
subtitles.
So,
That's what I'm doing.
just
Why
authentic
did
is
you
better
ask
all
about
the
that?
time.
What-
Authentic
Does it
is
matter
better.
which one you watch? Is there?
I'm
a
sure
huge difference
authentic
or
is
what?
better, Ahmed, but I can't speak Korean, mate. So
I'm so sorry, Callum.
I'm sorry, my five-a-side chat was way more interesting than fucking Squid Game.
Yeah, but then you started talking about socks, mate.
and,
and you lost
I
us.
tell you. I'm giving him a
You were
tip.
doing great,
It's not
and then you started
free
talking
show.
about grip socks, and now I ain't got a Scooby what they are. So, anyway,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
Squid Game. If you haven't seen it, very very good. Watched it last night, and James, you said you were watching it. You finished it or what?
I've finished it weeks
I was
ago.
gonna say.
yeah.
All right, all right.
Bit old school here, man.
One of
Been
them.
out for ages.
One of them
It's taken me a
dies.
while to get round to it. You see,
Because you're
Yeah,
older
but I
than
don't-
them two, Mark.
I don't
I
have
am
a life,
exactly. It
Mark.
seems to go in age. The older you are, the more delayed you are.
Yeah.
So yeah,
true.
that makes sense. So
Throwing
she'll
Callum
be
under the
watching
bus
it
like
in
that.
about a year.
I'm fucking 25.
He's
mate.
25. He's your age.
Mark, your excuse can be
I've
that
still
you've got
got
real
plenty of
adult
time.
things to do. That's where I fall short.
That's my excuse. Well, family stuff to do. That's
Yeah,
all I
you're
do.
just boring.
You
I
seen
did hate
also
myself.
you seen Connor's been quite smiley tonight because his man Max won, didn't he?
And,
Do you know what, mate? I'm
Yeah.
well back into my Formula One at the minute, and yeah, Verstappen smashed it tonight. They got it spot on, didn't they, Red Bull?
It
I
was
really
a pretty
thought-
boring
Yeah.
race, but it was
Great
the
race,
overtake
great
in
race.
turn one. Took both Mercedes in one. That's how you do it.
I really thought Perez was going to have Hamilton at the end. To be
I
fair.
And,
Just
Did-
four
did
more
you not
times and he's
think,
world
um,
champion. That's all he needs to worry about.
Did you not think Hamilton and Bottas got it wrong at the start, though?
Well,
Why was
the thing
Solskjær
is,
managing him?
somebody came at me saying, "Oh, it's Bottas's fault that he let him max pass."
No,
Why
no,
is
no,
it
it's
always
not-
on Bottas for
no,
Lewis?
it's not
I
Bottas'
missed,
fault.
I missed the
You know what he
first. I
should
missed
have
the
done?
first 5 laps. So what the hell happened to Bottas? Because I missed the first 5 laps
Ricardo.
of the race, and he was
Ricardo.
like 16th.
Yeah, Ricardo clipped in. Do you know what Hamilton should have done? You know the onboard from Verstappen's car, because Bottas got away really quick, didn't he? So did Hamilton. Why didn't Hamilton draft in behind Bottas and give Verstappen nowhere to go for that split second? And Verstappen would have had to got out the throttle, wouldn't he?
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I've seen like Lewis fans.
He just
come
got
at me
brave. He was
blaming
brave on the
Bottas.
brakes,
It's
wasn't
like ridiculous.
No, I thought Verstappen because as soon as the slipstream happened, the speed was unbelievable, wasn't it? The actual pull of the drag.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only problem is now Verstappen is ahead. My nerves for the next 5 weeks are going to be completely shattered on edge because this is the closest my driver has ever come to potentially
All he has
winning.
to do right now is
You know what I suggest,
all he has
Connor?
to do.
Connor, just quickly, Ahmed, you know what I suggest, mate? Start picking winners.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll be honest. I'll be completely honest.
He just has to win all 4 races. That's it.
Do you know what? I'll be honest. I like the Formula One, but I couldn't give a fuck who won. Like, just fun.
So you don't support it.
It's
I
just
wish
fun
I
to
was a
watch.
neutral. I wish I was a neutral. It's
Yeah, I'm
stressful
a
enough
neutral.
following United. but-
Listen, I'm a Schumacher fan till I die, so I don't care which one it is. I'm
I
just
will.
supporting them, and no matter how far down the grid they are.
Ahmed Schumacher's one of the very few drivers that managed to drive with a stick and also double clutch and won championships in both. So
He's my hero for a reason, Stu. He's my hero for a reason.
Did I just see that comment? I'd
He's a hell
rather
of a
watch
driver.
snooker.
yeah.
You've got to be taking the mick.
Actually,
I mean-
did you see the comment? Jarvis uses grip
Oh.
socks. So Jarvis knows about grip socks,
Stop,
lads.
no, Stu, stop it! Stop, Stu.
Well done,
Please,
Jarvis.
no.
I do love me.
Talk,
I do love
please.
me snooker though. To be fair, I do like me snooker.
I don't.
My TikTok is just full of snooker clips.
Oh,
Really?
my life.
Oh,
I mean,
I'm
well,
just
I'm
gonna
not
watch
too sure
cricket
about
now. This week was it England?
Right, boys.
I'm watching
Right,
cricket this
end
week.
it.
England D20
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm going to
Just
end
keep
it.
on
Listen,
with
it's
that. That's all.
half 11. So
Yes.
we've got to get up tomorrow. Me and Stu are going to struggle to wake up in the morning at this rate. But listen, thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks for all the conversations tonight. And thanks for always turning up
Thanks,
as well.
guys.
I'm sorry that we had to talk about the shitty game from yesterday again and all the things going on in and around the club. It just is what it is at the minute. But as I said, yeah, thank you very much. Like, subscribe. Thanks for all your comments. Come back again next time. We've got a few shows on this week coming up. Obviously, not any reaction shows, so I'm going to be okay for a couple of weeks at least until we're back. But yeah, anyway, listen, thanks very much. See you soon.